We just finished buttoning up the whole entire coolant system on the car. I think everything is good to go. I'm pretty sure everything is closed, everything is tight, everything should be ready to go. So before we add coolant to the car and actually start it and run it for the first time and let the motor actually get hot and check to see if the fans work and all that stuff, we're gonna drain the coolant just to make sure everything is cleared out and ready to go, which I think is right here. I don't know, man. I'm pretty sure it's right here. You wanna crack it, Jumbo? It's gonna be torqued pretty hard.
Is this supposed to come all the way out?
Uh-huh. Second oil change.
Oh!
Oh, God.
That's not coolant. That is not coolant.
That is not coolant.
Fuck. Well, now you gotta go buy oil.
Damn it.
Might as well do an oil change.
God damn it. That wasn't coolant. That wasn't coolant.
Fuck.
Okay.
God damn it.
Now we're gonna do an oil change. All right, so we got ourselves into a Ferrari oil change here, and because we started to drain some of it, we're gonna go ahead and finish the rest of it. So, as news to me, as I did my research off of the manuals that we have, the Ferrari Pomerado Rd has 3 drain plugs. This is the first reservoir, and then we have another one, and then another one. Once we drain both of those, then we can close it up, and then we have to go to Ferrari, get a new filter and oil because we don't have 5W40 here. This is gonna be simple. We'll do this really quick, and then we'll get going with the rest of the stuff we have to do today.
Inches later.
So we actually just got back from Ferrari. We ended up going there and picking up oil, an oil filter, and we picked up some coolant because they had all of it there. Funny enough and oddly enough, we're using Audi and Volkswagen coolant. When if you go online and look at the forums, everyone's like super specific about everything, which is kind of like odd to me because especially on the forums too, the oil, like you're supposed to use like Shell 5W40 only. We go to a dealership and they give us Maserati branded 5W40 Pennzoil. One of those things like, is oil just really oil as long as it's synthetic and the right viscosity? I'll leave that up to you guys in the comments to fight about. But we're gonna do an oil change, and we're gonna do a new filter change, and then we have a new coolant change, and then we will make sure everything is at the right level and make sure we have enough of everything, and we'll start this car and run it and try to get this thing up to temperature. Ooh, doctor. So right now Calvin has taken off the oil filter, which is placed in between both of the heads down there at the bottom. Kind of in a really awkward spot because you can't really get to it, as you can tell. Oh, Calvin, please be careful. Where are you gonna step?
I gotta
Mate,
jump.
that's a bad idea.
That's a bad idea.
That's such a bad idea.
Wait, got it.
Want me to try it? I can try it.
I got it.
Such a bad idea.
Okay.
Terrible.
Here we go.
Okay.
Here we go. Getting amongst it.
Okay, you take that out, and then I'll hand you all stuff so we can. Ooh. Yeet. There you go. So we have an interesting design here. We have an oil cap, which the cap then houses in the filter. From what I read, we just pull this off. Oh, okay. Okay, I think that's it. Okay,
I think I don't have ugly ass toes.
all right, so now that the oil filter is in, this car takes 10 quarts of oil. We're gonna start off by putting 9 to 9.5 in, and then to check the oil level, the car has to be at temperature. So we'll leave it at that, and then once the car is running, because this car has a dry sump, that's why the car has to be at temperature when we check it, and then we can add some if we're a little bit low. So let's add that in and get after it. All right, so we are going to put coolant in the car for the first time. Our oil is good. I just checked our level when it was cold and it was right in the middle, but it's gonna change when it gets hot. I'm gonna do distilled water first before we put in our coolant mix, just to make sure there wasn't any leaks. I don't know if like the first gallon is just gonna get like sent straight to the front of the radiators or if it's gonna sit in the back. I don't quite know, so I'm gonna start just with something that's cheap first, so that if it does go on the ground, it doesn't cost that much money. So we're gonna start with water first, and hopefully we don't have any issues. Ev, you wanna man the camera real quick?
Just sending full gallon in there.
I want to see it leak.
Send a gallon and then raise it up and
Yeah.
see if anything leaks. I don't hear anything here.
I don't see any coming out of the ground, so that's good.
That's a good sign. You hear that?
You can hear it like draining.
It sounds like a hungry stomach.
I know. All right, second gallon.
Oh no, it's going slow. I think it's just because there's no air in the system, right? That's the only air spot. So
So we'll do the coolant after this, yeah?
You got that bubblegum coolant, dude. I've never seen coolant that color.
Neither have I. That's why when I was like trying to find certain coolant for it, I was so sketched out because I couldn't find anything similar. Yeah, it's slowly going down. Kinda.
Yeah, like without a lot of breathing, it's like trying to fill up these lines and stuff that are so long, and all the air is just gonna get trapped. I don't know. That's probably why it has that crazy bleeding process, because there's so much travel of all these coolant lines from the rear to the front and stuff.
Yeah, it's slowly draining, but like
You're still having to do another gallon and a half after this.
another gallon, yeah. So this car takes 16.4 liters of fluid. That's 4.5 gallons. A normal car is like what? Like maybe 2 gallons?
Not only do you have the radiators up front, but you also have like what, 1-inch coolant line. So there's a lot of coolant and heat transfer.
It's actually very similar to the 350Z in the fact that like the coolant lines stretch the whole length of the car there and back, so it takes a lot of coolant. All right, so I just finished up putting in coolant. That's where it says to stop on the manual. So we actually have quite a ridiculous bleeding system that we have to do here because there's no bleeder on the car that I can find, but I have this schematic that's like probably up 20 minutes worth of idling and then raising the RPM for a minute and then idling and raising the RPM a minute, and that is to get the car hot enough to not only bleed out the system, but also it's gonna get the fans to their operating temperature
I have a
to
question
kick them
for you.
on. Okay.
When you're done with this car, does it make you a Ferrari mechanic?
No, it does not.
It's a good question though.
It does not. I wish it did, but it doesn't. So honestly, like Calvin's not here. No one that's been helping this isn't here. And I'm just kind of doing it by myself right now because I want to do this. I'm like so excited to see it. I wish I had a couple helping hands for this exact process, but I'm done waiting. I want to get this thing going. So we're not dripping any water, any coolant. So far, I mean, I don't know if there's water in these lines quite yet, but I'm not noticing anything dripping. So I'm going to stop delaying. We're gonna start the car and begin the bleeding process. Evan's actually gonna help me keep a close eye on this. We're just gonna start it and check for any initial leaks. And Ricky walked by off camera and he was like, dude, why do you seem so nervous? And if I haven't really projected it to you guys, I'm really nervous for this. This is probably the most nervous I've been for this build because this is the first time we've kind of like, we're gonna find out if we've messed with anything and like had any mistakes. So my heart's pounding, my head's kind of flying a million miles a minute. I am nervous, 100%. I'm nervous for this. All right, I'm gonna start it, Evan, then come out with you. All right, I put some more gas in the car. Disregard all these failures. Nothing too detrimental. Suspension, parking sensor, light sensors, airbags. We just need to reset that. Electrical system, okay.
Go to dealer right away.
Yeah, I think we're good. Yeah, now it's repeating, so it should be okay. Here we go.
What I think we should do, maybe let it run for 30 seconds and then just turn it off because you did just do an oil change. And we'll just double check that you got oil and that the coolant isn't like, you know, all over.
Okay. Initially checking. We should start feeling some of these get hot in a little bit, but I'm not seeing anything leak yet. Nothing dripping.
Went down a little bit, not too much.
Want to cut it? Okay. Okay, we're gonna cut it for a sec. The motor wasn't hot, so we're not gonna get a complete accurate reading of the oil, but we might as well just check it, make sure it looks okay.
It was weird, when you turned it off, I heard like fluid.
All of it, yeah, I can still see it. It's not that low yet. It says really high.
It is really high.
12 seconds later.
Due to the shortage of hands, we haven't been able to document this very well. I'm gonna show you this slight little snippet just to kind of see what happened.
2, 1. Yes, nice, spin.
As you can tell, we kind of ran into a little bit of an issue. There seemed to be some leftover oil in the car, and we noticed that there was too much oil, so then we had to drain it. Working with a dry sump and checking oil levels is really difficult because as the car gets hotter, that's the more accurate your oil temp gets. So we started to notice once we were running it, it was way too high, and it's been a mission. Big learning experience, but our oil levels seems to be just about perfect right now. We have to get the car running for 5 minutes, and then if all seems good, which we haven't had any weird noises, any weird leaks, so nothing, then we can start this bleeding process. We'll start at number 9. Yep, it should take us 3 minutes or so. Okay, I'll let you know when. All right, I'm gonna start number 9 right now. You ready? All right, so we are doing the steps now. This is gonna take a couple minutes. It's kind of hard to hold my foot perfect and talk at the same time and film, so I'm gonna put you guys down. And when we get to the step where the fans are supposed to turn on, which is what I'm waiting for because we did the wiring for that, I'll let you guys know how that goes. All right, so our fans did not kick on, which is okay, is what I was hoping for, but it says once you reach the 2-minute mark at the step we were at, if the fans don't come on, just keep proceeding. So now we're at 2,000 RPM for 1 minute. Temperatures are looking good, oil temps are looking good, our pressures are looking good, no leaking at all, so all good steps, but like I said, I am praying for those fans to come on, because that would be like the assurance that we did that part right. All right, boys, fans kicked on. That is huge news. That means we did that part right. So our next step, John, what was it?
Turning on both heaters, both zones to max temperature.
I think that means my actual like heating.
So this means you have coolant up here.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah. It said to put the heat on the car at max temperature, at max air, so that's what we're doing. 3,000 RPM for 1 minute with the heat on. All right, boys. Bleeding process complete. Oil temperature good. Oil level good. Coolant temperature's good. Coolant level good. No leaks. No issues. We just successfully bled and changed the oil in this car.
You know what that means?
That means it's time to rip it, baby.
Time to drive. Let's go. I'm hopping in.
Not today,
What?
not today.
What? What do you mean?
We don't have any undercarriage. We don't have any bumper.
You don't need that.
We don't have anything.
Take it around.
Now that this thing is up to temp, we can safely, if we were to drive right now, we could safely drive it, but I'm gonna do a little bit of a baby rev here because I haven't heard this thing at all over 3,000 RPM since we had it. I'm not gonna go crazy, but I kinda wanna let you guys hear it a little bit since we're not getting any driving today. All right, here we go. Barely really even getting on it. That was only like 5,500 RPM and this thing tops out around like 9,000. We had our first official revs with this car. And I guess our next step is we still have the whole entire front pieces to come in and our headlights. But I honestly, boys, I think our next step is getting this thing on the road, maybe drive it around the block. I think that's what we'll have to do a video next if you guys want to see that. I'm impressed, boys. We had a little bit of a hiccup there with the oil. But as nervous as I was to do this, everything went extremely smooth. We're, you know, kind of. And I'm glad to say after doing a lot of cooling, fixing and cooling adjusting on the 350Z. I took a lot of lessons from that when we did that, and we had no issues with anything leaking or any drips or anything, which is, to me, is like, I'm super proud about that, and I'm so proud about the fans. Also, on the front, we still, the only warning lights we have now are the crash sensors, the headlight lamps, I think another miscellaneous like front bumper sensor, but the engine code that was like up there, so the engine malfunction cleared itself, and a bunch of other stuff cleared itself, which is huge news. So what that tells me is that the motor is safe. Those components are safe, which I was a little bit worried about because I bought the car not knowing really much about the history. But so far, the system seems safe. That once we get the rest of the pieces, this car is like so close to coming together, boys. I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching this video. Peace out and keep moving forward. And I'm